Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today's topic is pheromones. So earlier we have discussed about the topic of human pheromones. Today we will be going to discuss about pheromones in invertebrates as well as in vertebrates. So a pheromone is a secreted or excreted chemical factor that triggers a social response in the members of the same species. So the point here is pheromone is basically in active in case of the same species. So, pheromones are the chemicals that are capable of acting outside the body of the secreting individual to impact the behavior of the receiving individual. So, in case of pheromones, there is basically two type of individual. One is the secreting one, and the another one is the receiving individual, which will later responds to the pheromone of the secreting individual. So basically, the term pheromone comes from a Greek word that is pherein, that is to carry, and hormone to excite. So Carlson and Lucier introduced this term in 1959. Pheromones are ectohormones. So ectohormones basically means that is the chemical messengers that are transported outside the body that have the potential to evoke certain responses such as physiological or the behavioral change in a individual that is of same species. So the pheromones play an important role in inter-individual communication, and they are known to do so in the species from single-celled yeast to the primates, despite the different manifestations of what might be considered a behavior. Um, so, pheromone is a volatile molecule which is released into the air. So, when it is released into the air, it forms an elongated plume that is called an active space basically. So, the shape and the size of an active space vary depending on the weight of the molecule and the wind velocity also. So, beside pheromones, there exist certain another compounds that transmit the information between different species. So, these compounds are called chiromones and allomones. So, chiromones are used to communicate with the members of other species, and allomones are also used to communicate, but the only difference is that in this type only the sender is benefited, okay, and for example it is used to lure the prey or scare the possible predators. For example, in case of a queen of a beehive, it releases the chemicals that suppress the fertility of the female workers in the hive. So it will only benefit the queen of the particular beehive. So, evolution of the pheromone. So, signals are derived from the movements, body parts, or the molecules that are already in the use and are subsequently changed in the course of the evolution to enhance their signal function. So, basically, some signals are already present in a particular individual species, and later on, due to the course of the time or the evolution, they will enhance more or their function will transform into that of the pheromone. So pheromones evolve from the compounds that are originally having other uses or the significance, that is they are already performing the function in a particular individual's body. So there is selection for the functional signal features such as longevity and the specificity of that particular chemical or the compound that is present in the body of the organism. So there is also evolution and the in the senses and the response of the receiver also. So there is basically evolution in the secretor, that is individual, and also there is a evolution in case of the receiver of that particular pheromone also, that is due to which pheromones are became the mostly acceptable way of the communication among the animals. Now, the production of the pheromones. So, the signaler itself synthesizes and secretes most of the pheromones. That is, the particular pheromone is produced inside that body of the signaler or the sender, we can say. Some components may be collected in other way also. For example, the completer aggregation pheromone, it is the name of a pheromone, for some bark beetle species includes the components that is produced by the host tree, that is the tree on which that particular bark beetle resides, as well as the components that are produced by symbiotic bacteria in the beetle gut, that is the bacteria that are present in the gut of the particular beetle. So basically, completer aggregation pheromone is produced by all these organisms. So now the types of the pheromones. So Vossert and Wilson divided pheromones in two classes. First is the signaling or the releasing pheromone, and the second is the primer pheromone. So first, signaling and the releasing pheromone. So basically, signaling pheromones are also called short-term effect pheromones due to some properties that they possess, and they trigger the release of neurotransmitters that can directly modify the recipient's behavior. So neurotransmitters are the chemicals, okay, messengers in the body. Their job is to transmit the signals from the nerve cells to the target cells. So for example, Morse, that is a scientist, suggested that a fraction of the GnRS, that is the gonadotropin releasing hormone molecule, function directly as a neurotransmitter in the rat to elicit a behavioral effect. So this behavioral effect is the characteristic of a signal pheromone, that is due to the signal pheromone, okay, this response is initiated which activates a response. So signaling pheromones are again of three types. The first is alarm pheromone, then trail pheromone, and the sex attractant pheromone. So first is the alarm pheromone. So, insects use the alarm pheromone to warn the other members of the same species. Some organisms leave the alarm pheromone behind when they are injured or dying. So, such pheromones are spread through the diffusion of the air. So when a cloud of the pheromone is released, its concentration decreases with the increasing distance from the source. So the concentration gradient of the released pheromone can be used to localize a particular source. So in case of alarm pheromone, this allows the organism to realize from the danger or the danger signals. So the behavior that is caused by the pheromones can be tuned to the concrete situation in this way. It doesn't only tell a butterfly to flee, it also tells him where to he should be flee. But using air for the pheromone spreading has an obvious drawback, that is it has some limitation. So the volatile chemicals are easily caught by the wind. If a butterfly, for example, flies with the wind in its back position, this can cause him to pick up the alarm pheromone when he has already reached the source. So at that point in space, there is a good chance he would have noticed the danger anyway. In case of water, where pheromones are used by algae, snails, and fish, there is another distortion. Currents disrupt the chemical signaling and they make pheromones less useful. There is another drawback when spreading chemical in the water. The diffusion rate is much slower there. Although pheromones tend to spread as far as in the water as they do in the air, it takes much more time to do so. But aqueous organisms are, however, capable of releasing more pheromones molecules as compared to the land organisms. So, example of alarm pheromone in ant. So the glandular source of ant alarm pheromone is the mandibular gland, that is, it is the source from where the pheromone, that is the alarm pheromone, is released, okay, and but has also found in anal gland and also the Duffer glands of the ant. Then the species of Formica spray powerful formic acid along with their Duffer gland secretions, which act as a chemical defense, that is for their protection purpose. Then another example is a more complicated response is found in the harvesting in ant Pogonomax badius, whose active alarm pheromone that is named 4-methyl-3-heptone. When the concentration of the pheromone is around 1010 molecule per centimeter cube, it acts only as a attractant, but when the concentration is greater than that, the ant become aggressive. So this is a diagram representing the pheromone producing glands in an insect model. Here mandibular gland is present, labial gland, the metapleural gland, the anal gland, Duffer's gland, the Pavon's gland, and the poison gland. Another species of ants, basically the fire ant, Solenopsis savicima, is known to be aggressive and also has a complex alarm system. When in combat, the worker ant releases two substances, one from its head that act as an alarm pheromone, and the another one from the Duffer's gland that act as a trail pheromone to orient the other workers to the enemy. The pygidial gland in the ant Pheidole biconstricta, that is the source of an alarm pheromone. The pygidial gland is similar to the anal gland and has been found to have three purposes basically. So the first purpose is that it may act as a repellent against the another ant species. Then the second is it will act as a line of a defense against the attackers, and also the third one is that it increases the running and the aggressive behavior in the ant. Leaf cutting ants also release an alarm pheromones from their mandibular glands and responds aggressively to them. So yeah, this is all about the part 1 of the pheromones. Stay tuned for the part 2 of the pheromones topic. In later videos we will be going to deal with the alarm pheromone in the bees, that in the types of pheromones that are present in the bees, and also the pheromones that are present in mammals, and the releaser and the primer pheromone also. So hope you will like my video, and if you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel.